Hey everybody, I'm the Bat Otter, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing Batman Beyond the White Knight, the first issue in the series of Sean Gordon Murphy's take on Batman Beyond his own universe. Now, I didn't even read Curse of the White Knight. I wasn't buying comics at the time, and I don't feel like buying the trade paperback and reading through all those 8 issues because one thing I forgot about Murphy's writing style is he writes a lot. And there's not that much there. It's a pretty digestible amount. But I know that he will write a lot. And I'm like, I don't want to. It doesn't seem that interesting because it's a lot of flashbacks and retconning and, oh, the Wayne family is this and all this historical drama nonsense. And I've never been much of a fan of that in general. So to go out of my way to read it, I'm not going to do that. But this is pretty interesting. I remember reading the first one in trade paperback format. That's how I read it. It was pretty good. I remember enjoying it. I remember that there was a lot of dialogue, a lot of interesting conflict going on. But I liked it. I liked what they did with the Joker at the very end, the conflict, the different Harley Quinns, and the different takes on the characters, and go figure, it blew up into its own universe, especially with such a unique art style. So this one, right off the bat, we get Terry McGinnis going into this cave to steal the Batman Beyond suit, which unfortunately, just as a spoiler, this is pretty much the only amount of Batman Beyond we get here. He's fighting these guys and somebody's talking with him through an intercom, and we come to find out that it's Derek Powers talking to him. And it's revealed on this really, really wonderful splash page, double page spread of Sean Gordon Murphy's Neo Gotham. Which, if there's any artist out there that can do a good Neo Gotham, it's certainly Sean Gordon Murphy. Sorry about the glare there. And I was really excited for this because he actually tweeted a long time ago, before he even started Curse of the White Knight, or around that same time, that it was going to be a trilogy. He mentioned that the third one in the series was going to be a Batman Beyond book, which got me really excited. And then seeing some of the early art in the previous months leading up to this, I like his take on the Batman Beyond suit. I like the setting that he creates. And that's one thing that I will say about this book right off the bat is, right off the bat, his ability to create a really interesting and alive setting. Is that the best way to put it? A setting a very believable setting. Like, once you're in it, and once he illustrates, especially this big old page here, is pretty much the foundation of the rest of the book and the setting in the rest of the book. You continue to live in it. You believe the setting, you're drawn into it, and he's very good with his style illustrating the Neo Gotham kind of 90s retro Japan feel. So Bruce Wayne is in prison, which last time I checked he wasn't, but like I said, I skipped over an entire book in the series. They're arguing about Azrael and giving you a lot of context, and he's like, I saved Azrael. And so this guy gets rid of Jason Todd. Jason Todd is a prison guard. He talks to him, and he says, oh, Jason, I've been spending years in this cell. I don't know how long it's been, thinking about you. And Jason's like, oh, well, I've been thinking about you too. And then boom, big old tank comes into the prison riot. They start dispatching all of the rioters, and it's Dick Grayson there. Apparently Dick Grayson and Batman don't like each other anymore, and neither does Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon. And they have all this new tech in the GTO. I never knew what that stood for, even when I read the original. But the new police force, right? So they have all this new tech, and we have Duke Thomas, that's his name, right? Explained to Batman, Bruce Wayne, that Derek Powers came in, took his fortune, got rich off the charities, and evil, bad business guy stuff. Like Killmonger? No. Ironmonger. Iron Menace. The Jeff Bridges in Iron Man 1. Like his character, but Bruce Wayne is actually altruistic. And is doing all this. So Duke Thomas gives him the layout. Bruce Wayne is obviously mad about that. He sees his new suit being used, and he's like, this is terrible. I need to do something about it. And then we get this wonderful shot right here of a very well-posed Well, it's a very generic superhero pose that Sean uses here. Uh, just by putting the arm behind the leg and adding that little bit of depth in the leg makes it stand out that much more. And I really appreciate that. I appreciate all the art in this book. And ultimately, this book, it's not bad, but it's also not, wow, that's super interesting, because a lot of the takes are kind of takes that you would share with your friends. Like, oh, what if this was the way that things went and not this? Or what if it was this and what if it was that? Real simple stuff, like little changes that aren't bad by any means, but it's not great either. It's not great, and it's not so super original like the original White Knight was. And I'm not one to try and compare sequels and everything like that, but being that this is in universe, it's the same writer, same writing team, I think that there is a little bit of a fair comparison there, that the style of writing in the original White Knight is not conducive of long-term use. It's very much a one-off sort of thing, which again, that's not a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's just better for writers to know what works and what doesn't. And for the most part, this does work. But I wanted to take a better look at this page because Sean Gordon Murphy has a very unique style of illustration. The way that he uses ink, because he does it traditionally, and sometimes it can be jarring, I will admit. I don't always agree with it, like shots like this. And also, see that silhouette? You're going to see a lot of that. That's a cool thing. Oh, like, what if Bruce Wayne was Batman, which he is, but his silhouette was like Batman? Isn't that cool? Yeah, that's pretty cool. But he does it all the time. Okay, that's less cool. But seeing this, I mean, if you know how to ink, obviously, he uses unorthodox methods. He uses fingerprint to do different patterns and different effects with the ink in the ink splatter. And he doesn't use a lot of what one would consider traditional methods of illustration, which is what draws me to it. It can be a little bit jarring at times, I'll admit, but, you know, you're not always going to jive well with every single part of somebody's style. But I think in this setting, especially with his work with the colorist, here, I mean, that's just an incredible illustration that I've never seen it, but this gives me the kind of vibe that you would get from something like Akira, the 90s anime. It, like I said, he does an excellent job at capturing the setting. We get some stay-at-home mom Harley beating her meat with her son. Oh, that's even worse. And he's like, oh, why did Uncle Bruce stop letting us visit? And she's like, I'll tell you when you're older. She has a daughter. I don't know if this is established or not. And she slaps the daughter because the daughter mouths off at her. And then look, it's a Harley Quinn silhouette and a Joker silhouette. Isn't that so deep? No, it's not. But, like I said, you know, whatever, right? So we get some family drama. Turns out that Harley Quinn killed the Joker. And then Jason Todd gives us his backstory. He's like, Bruce, you didn't fail me, I failed you by breaking under the pressure and then running away and then being disappointed when I saw you with somebody else in a very emotional time in my development. Yes, I failed you. Now, I like Jason Todd's design. I like the composition here for the page. Good stuff. I like the artwork a lot. I will say that. And I think, for me, at least, the storytelling is good enough that I can look at the art and enjoy it for what it's supposed to be. Because some books, I really like the art, but the story just is terrible. Kind of like the Tom King Batman Catwoman series. The art was great. Love Clay Mann, although he did go on the decline as the series progressed, which is kind of sad. But the story was just not good enough for me to buy for the art. This, I think it is. Although we're going to get into a lot of tropes. You know, they hug, they make up. Jason's obviously a prison guard. And you get this really cool shot of Red Hood advertising the Red Hood book in this universe. I might get that one. Comics are expensive. Bruce escapes, and again we get another shot at Neo Gotham, and this book is obviously a setup book. The pacing is a little bit all over the place at times. It's not always it doesn't always flow too well. Sometimes the pacing, you'll turn the pages and be like, that doesn't fit with the pacing. You're getting a lot of exposition thrown at you. And it's not overwritten by any means, because sometimes that can happen. You get an overwritten book, the dialogue doesn't feel natural. In this case, it's not that the dialogue is overwritten or doesn't feel natural. It's more so that the pacing of it is not very consistent within itself, which can be a little bit difficult to read. I'd almost go as far to say that the book didn't have a very good editor, because I feel like stuff like that, the writer has all these ideas that they spitball, they put in the book, and then the editor's like, okay, slow down, let's organize, let's get this, let's get that. To me, that's what an editor would do, and being that DC laid off about 2/3 of its staff, I can believe that this book might not have had an editor, or an editor that's paid enough to edit properly, unfortunately. But regardless, that's one of the gripes with the book. Bruce Wayne escapes, and all of a sudden, he starts hearing this voice in his head. It's obviously the Joker. Wow, I didn't notice this page. That's pretty cool. I like that. See, I like the setting. The setting is good. Sean Gordon Murphy, one thing, consistent in the setting. Remember that. There was one other thing about it, about Bruce Wayne. The expressions here are good. Don't y'all like that whenever an artist can actually illustrate very simple expressions? It's like a father grabbing his son like, boy. Good stuff, right? As fathers do. What was it? There was something else about this. Okay, I cut the video. This may not be it, but the dialogue, after rereading, looking through it again, the dialogue feels a little bit, like everybody talks the same. Except some of them say, like, oh, this guy says yo a lot, but he really conveys the same ideas as everybody else. That's all I can really say. Looking back through it, I did look at some of the panels a little bit closer. I like these moments here a lot. The real simple moments of real simple everyday expressions that you'd see. There were a couple more throughout the book that were very well illustrated. There's one more at the very end. Like here, it's like, are we going to be okay, Jason? And Jason's like, oh, I'll give you 10 minutes before I sound the alarm. And Batman's like, that's all you needed to say. And he escapes. And of course, this one right here, I like that shot. Don't you guys like the shot? Like I said, Sean Gordon Murphy, incredible artist. He's doing everything that he should be doing as an artist. I just think that it's rough around the edges, right? The story, premise, the bad guy, okay, it set that up. It set up what Bruce Wayne is doing. It set up the fact that Bruce Wayne doesn't know what Gotham is like anymore. It's all really good setups, but, and not to be condescending, it could be better. You guys know what I mean? It's like everything is there. If only it was just something a little bit extra just to tie it all together. I feel like it's missing that. Maybe it's a theme, a theme that should tie it all together at the very end. Regardless, it was solid. I look forward to what's next. And of course, the big reveal at the end. Oh my gosh, the Joker is back. I guess he died. I don't know. Cool shot. You get the silhouettes again. I think that's a little overdone, but whatever. I didn't make the book. You get previews for the next issue. And of course, the Joker is actually in his head, just like in Arkham Knight. Who would have guessed that? Good shots of Batman Beyond. Like I said, if there's any artist that I would love to see take on this character, it would definitely be Sean Gordon Murphy. And lo and behold, that's what he's doing. So we get a preview for the next issue. And the cover for the next issue. It looks like Batman and Dick Grayson have some catching up to do. And they're older. Yeah, I mean, that was good. It wasn't groundbreaking. I like the art for sure. If Sean Gordon Murphy ever does prints or art books, I'm probably going to get them just for this character. And I want to see black and white versions, because as much as I do like the colors and appreciate everything they're worth, being an inker myself, I want to see all that nitty-gritty stuff, especially here. I mean, it's really good stuff. I like it. I'll probably be looking at the rest of them as they come out. If the series starts to decline in writing or gets too generic or, just isn't as good as I had hoped it would, I'll probably stop getting it before the end. I did watch one video by your boy Zach reviewing The Curse of the White Knight, and he said, I was just glad when it was over, and I was like, oh, that's not fun. So hopefully that's not what happens with this one. who knows? Like I said, I'll probably watch like a Comic Historian video about the last one, and he'll get me really excited for it because, you know, Comic Historian is really good at telling you all of the good things and none of the bad things. It's a trick, but he's really good at it, and sometimes I think he believes it himself. Good enough. So yeah, if you like Sean Gordon Murphy, if you've liked the other books in the series, I have no doubt you're gonna like this. If you like the first one and not so much the second one, just give it a try, right? Pick it up, 1, 2, 3 issues. They're actually pretty cheap. They're only $5. I was expecting it to be 7 or 8, being that it's a Black Label and it's Murphy, but I guess they found a good middle ground for their Black Label titles. So yeah, definitely go check it out if you're interested, if you like the series. The artwork, it's got an A in my book. I'll probably be looking over this a lot in the coming days. So yeah, that's been the video. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at @theBatOtter, and you'll probably see more fight videos. Esports Boxing Club, I made something on that. Go check that out if you're interested. And more manga reviews as well. I'm planning on reviewing the Berserk, you know, that super deluxe edition that's like this thick. I'm planning on reviewing that in little bits and pieces because it's so long. There's no way I'm going to do one video on that, considering it's broken up into different arcs anyway. I really like the Berserk series, by the way. Incredible series. Anyway, that's all. See y'all.